Hi, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I thought today I would just pose a question for some of the wedding photographers out there and would-be wedding photographers. If you look at my channel and my blogs, you'll see that for many years I did wedding photography. Started off in the film days and then graduated to digital. And been having a think about this lately. I just had an interesting experience whereby last weekend I photographed a friend's 70th birthday celebration on his farm in rural South Australia, and I used my Canon 700D, this one here with the flash on top. It was an overcast day and I was just nicely using some fill flash to fill in the shadows under the eyes, and I got some beautiful results. I was really blown away. I was just using this standard lens on here. I was blown away with the quality of the shots I got, and so was my friend whose birthday it was and his family. And I thought, wow, you know, these cameras are still pretty good, and they are. They are. Digital SLR, it's just a basic APS-C digital SR crop sensor, APS-C. So, and I still love it. I've spoken about that camera as my go-to camera on this channel before. I'll put a link underneath if you want to see that. But it made me think, and then this, just last night we went to a birthday celebration for a person about 20 years younger. The other guy was 70, this lady was closer to 50. So we did a photo I did some photo shots in the hotel where we were for a meal, with her and the family and her kids and our family, and all I did was use my mobile phone. And it started me thinking about this whole thing as to what do you really need to photograph a wedding, bearing in mind, I'm talking about technology. You need a lot more than just the technology to photograph a wedding. You need to know what you're doing. And because I've had many years of experience, I think I, by now, know what I'm doing. Not that I'm doing weddings these days. I haven't done one for about 5 years at least, I suppose. I'm too old and got too many aches and pains to keep pursuing it now. I wish I could. I wish I was fit enough to do it. I'd still be doing it. Anyway, so it made me think about, and the results that we got on just using the mobile phone in that indoor setting in a hotel were fantastic. And I've done similar things before. And it made me think about when I first got into shooting weddings, I was using film, and I was using a Pentax Spotmatic SLR camera, manual focus, manual everything pretty much, and I had one basic flash and one tripod and one lens. And I used to set everything, I used to have to do about 15 actions, I thought, 15 things I had to think about every time I took a shot in a wedding. Getting your exposure right, your focus right, winding the film on, composing, all that sort of stuff, where the light was, whether I needed flash, whether I didn't. There's all sorts of things you've got to think about when you're taking a photograph, until it becomes normal to you and natural to you to not have to think about it. So anyway, that's what I started off with, and as cameras started, and it was all manual focus. And I had glasses, had a real lot of trouble in low light trying to focus the camera in low light, and so I was quite excited when they started bringing out autofocus film cameras. And some of the first people that got into that were the Minolta people. And I saw this article in a pro photography magazine, I think it was, Australian one, about this chap who was a wedding photographer, and he had a Minolta 9000, and he had a program flash sitting on the top, and he did an article in the I've probably still got the article somewhere in my archives. He did an article in the camera in the magazine on the fact that he did a whole wedding on film, and he set the excuse me, he set the flash on program and the camera on program, and set the ISO to whatever it was required, and just all he had to do was just focus the shots, pose them up, and do the ones that he wanted to get. And he showed samples of what he had taken doing that method. He did the whole wedding like that, and he said, I can't beat this, these exposures are all even, all perfectly exposed. And I had to agree with him, they were, but the flash was a bit overpowering in some shots. There were shadows on the walls and that sort of stuff. But I thought, wow, it's a pretty good camera. I'd like to try that experiment. So I ended up buying one of those Minolta 9000 cameras, and I've still got it. It's here. And that's the big Minolta program 4000 AF flash that goes on it. I didn't used to use this lens. This is a more recent acquisition, this lens, but I just had a basic standard lens on it, and this is a fantastic camera. You have to wind on manually, but then the autofocus, and you've got manual, shutter priority, aperture priority, program priority, and autofocus, manual focus. You've got a PC hot shoe for your flash, and Bob's your uncle. So this was when things were starting to get automated, and I thought, this is great. I didn't continue using this on all my weddings. I was into a Pentax system, and I had lots of Pentax cameras and lenses. So when Pentax autofocus came out, I got right into that, and I've still got lots of that sort of gear. Excuse me. Anyway, what I've noticed was that, and what I've been thinking about is, and probably other people have already said this on YouTube and have already experimented with it, but I thought, all things being equal, I could do a better job just using my phone, taking photos at a wedding. And what I've done this last weekend, I mean, the shots that I took, I'm not going to show them to you because of privacy, but the shots that I took last night are very comparable to the ones that I took last weekend using my Canon 700D. And you've got lots of advantages of a mobile phone, of course. And you've even got a portrait setting on the Apple iPhone, which when you set it on portrait and just take a portrait of someone, like I'd take a photo of me coming up close like that and put it on portrait, and then the background is blurred, you know, to give you that out of focus background look, which is amazing. And of course, once you've taken the photos, I mean, I was sending them to her phone straight after I took them last night in the restaurant. And you can do a lot of stuff in post-production on your phone and also on your computer. So I'm putting it to you that there are a few limitations in photographing a wedding. I mean, people probably wouldn't like to see you just using a mobile phone. They think, oh, that's not professional enough. I'd rather have, you know, something like this or something like this. And photograph my wedding, then I know they're serious. But seriously, this technology is that good that I believe I could photograph a wedding. The only things that I would be caught out on a little bit, I'm not sure whether you can get lens hoods for a mobile phone, but particularly with all cameras, you see this camera has got a lens hood on it, see? And when you're shooting into the sun, and of course you avoid shooting into the sun if you can when you're doing a wedding, but you do need something to shade your lens. And that's one of the main drawbacks. Even zooming in reasonably close shot for close-up shots at a wedding, I did that last night in the restaurant, in the hotel, and those shots came out good when I just flicked my fingers and brought them in a bit closer, and they were fine. And you can print up to a good size if you want to print photos these days. I'm not sure what modern weddings are doing, whether they're producing albums or whatever they're doing. But that's what my proposition is. Does anyone out there think they could do the same, that they could photograph a wedding using just a mobile phone? I know other people have done it in the early days of mobile phones, and they were even making movies, motion picture movies. And I do all my, except for today, I do most of my YouTube videos using this. But I'm using my OMD EM5 Mark II Olympus Micro Four Thirds to record this, just for doing something different. So we'll see how that comes out. But there you go. What do you think? Could you shoot a wedding with a mobile phone? If you're a wedding customer and you're getting married, would you accept someone coming up to you and saying, I'm your wedding photographer, and they just walk in with a phone? Of course, if you had two of them, that would be even better, because I used to often shoot with a second shooter. And but would you accept it? Would you accept it? And how much money would you be prepared to pay? Because there's not a lot of outlay for a photographer. You would have wanted to become a professional photographer. You're going to have a phone anyway, and you could use that as your kit. So all you're really charging for is your time and your expertise, more so than the actual equipment that you've got, because you're already going to be owning that whether you're a wedding photographer or not. Anyway, I'd like to know what you think, and I don't want anyone to come and say, well, I want you to come and photograph my wedding using a phone. There'll probably be weddings I go to before too much longer where I'll take my phone, but usually I like to take my proper camera, my real camera, with me as well when I go to things like that. Anyway, thanks for watching. Like if you like, subscribe if you wish, and please tell me what you think. I'll see you next time. See you later.